Hello, welcome to the class about client access array and network load balancing. Today we will add new client access server to the already existing one. We will set up CAS Array and we will use it with NLB, network load balancing. Right now we've got one Exchange server with client access role on it, and we are worried what will happen if this server goes down. Well, no one will be able to use their emails. We want to create one more client access server that will run simultaneously with the first client access server and will keep service running in case first server goes down. Also, it will allow to avoid overloading the first server with work, with client requests. In our previous video, we discussed database availability groups. We discussed failover clusters. In this type of clusters, there's only one working server at any given moment. One server works and other servers wait, and if something happens with the main server, with a working server, one of the waiting servers takes its place, so there is no disruption of services for clients. Today we will discuss different kind of cluster with a network load balancing. In this kind of cluster, all the servers work simultaneously. On one hand, all these servers perform together one collective task. So if one of them goes down, others will keep the whole service running. In our case, this service will be client access. On the other hand, since all the servers are working together, they help each other to avoid being overloaded with client requests. And this is a big difference with failover clusters. So failover cluster and NLB, network load balancing cluster, they are different and you cannot mix them together in one cluster. No, one type or another. Let's start Exchange installation. We need .NET. Let's go to Features and install it, as always. So we will install Exchange server. This time, however, I don't want to install all the roles on it. We do not need mailbox role right now. We need only client access because we want to create NLB cluster. We can install mailbox, it's not wrong or something. We just don't want to. Let's assume that separate server with DAG or without DAG, whatever, handles the mailbox role. We go to Custom Installation and we choose Client Access and Hub Transport roles. Here we choose external name for Outlook Web Access. Prerequisites check. Now let's handle all the features and prerequisites. .NET TCP port sharing. Let's go and set it to automatic. So prerequisites will be confirmed and we will start installation. I feel like skipping the rest of the process. When the installation is finished, we will have 2 Exchange servers in our company. Next, we install network load balancing feature. This feature will allow us to assign one IP address to multiple servers to the cluster and distribute load between these servers. Now we've got NLB feature on one server. Let's go and install it also on the second server. Here in Management Console, after we refresh, you will be able to see the second server. A second. Here it is. You can see that our second server doesn't have mailbox role on it because we chose not to install it. I want to remind you again, we cannot have both failover cluster and NLB. So if we choose here to install failover cluster, NLB feature won't be accessible to us. You can have DEG, failover cluster, and 2 client access servers, but without NLB feature. So there is one virtual IP address for all the computers in our cluster, for the whole cluster. Let's go and take a look at it. Of course, we can see it in DNS. Here it is. This record, NLB record, is the record made for our cluster. Let's change IP address to 10.0.200. This is the IP address that I will show to my clients. This is the IP address that my clients, users, will use to connect to their emails. Now let's set the things up. Right now you can see this server got only one IP address. After we set up NLB cluster, the second IP address will appear. Also, this IP address will appear on the second server, and both servers will be active. Active-active approach. Using NLB Manager, we create new cluster and right away add the first server to it. Here we choose network adapter to use. Next, here we choose IP address for our cluster. We are talking about virtual IP address here. So what was it? And we have class C. Okay. Now what's this? Internet name. Doesn't really affect anything. Next thing to choose is cluster operation mode. This is about networking adapters and MAC addresses. NLB cluster functions like this. User's request is broadcasted to all servers in cluster, and then network load balancing algorithm chooses which server will reply this request.